GM, good to see you, Roger. Halls Balls, what up? RPM. Tiger. Guys, make sure you're getting here early. Smash the like button. Did anyone catch the space I was on last night? The Bitcoin space? It was a good one. It's a really good one. Huge respect to them, though, for still like bringing me up after all this time. I know sometimes arguments have gotten a little heated up there and whatever, but I do like that they still bring me up. We can still talk about whatever. Doesn't always have to be XRP related. I do find it funny whenever I go up there, they're like, we're not talking about XRP. And then they literally can't stop talking about XRP. It's like, we're not going to talk about XRP today. And it's like, now let me tell you about why I don't like XRP. Oh, he's funny, but no, it's still really good. Someone says I find the Bitcoin space is blah. Yeah, I understand why. There's some good discussions up there though, especially on macro policy. I find that the macro policy stuff is generally all stuff I completely agree with. I definitely don't believe in like ending the Federal Reserve or anything like that, but well, it's not that I don't believe in ending it. I just don't think it's really realistic anytime soon. U.S. job cuts surged to 172,000, marking the highest monthly job cut since 2020. That is interesting news. Let me pull up CNBC real quick and see if we can get any information on this job cut. It looks like it just dropped. Need to get a second computer. I guess it's a third computer at this point, so I can have this news going 24/7.
Conversation because at the
Oh boy, that was loud. I just want to see if they're talking about these job cuts quick. It's actually pretty bullish. I'll talk about why in a second. Okay, here we go. See what they're talking about there.
important relationship as Canadians and Americans. Let's work together. These tariffs are not the way to do it. This aggressive economic action against Canada that has been your friend, your ally, your partner, our soldiers have fought and died together is not the way to go about this. Let's have a conversation, but this aggressive action has spurred Canadians who are generally a happy and kind people into a level of anger.
What's the rationale, Karina, for all those tariffs that I've got 30 of them here, and I have people writing in saying that they can't even sell their products in Canada. They have to be marked up 2.5 times in Canada just to sell into that country. What's the rationale? And that gives the perception that, you know, we're patsy, we're big, strong, you know, biggest economy in the world down here, and you almost are benefiting from our largesse and our you know, that's what you hear from President Trump all the time, that we're being taken advantage of. If you got rid of some of these tariffs, maybe there wouldn't be that perception. You have a much stronger arguing position.
Well, I mean, I don't think that the United States can say that Canada is taking advantage of the U.S. I mean, we have such a strong economic relationship. I mean, look at the big three, look at the auto industry. I mean, this is a relationship that is symbiotic, that works well, that benefits people on both sides of the border. You know, we have natural resources that the United States depends on that we sell to the US. I mean, we sell our energy at a much cheaper rate to the United States than what we would sell for it around the world. So there is a very good relationship, a very strong economic relationship that people on both sides of the border benefit from. And that's the relationship that we want to continue with as Canadians. But right now, we are feeling very attacked by this aggressive action. And
Right.
I have never seen this kind of patriotism in Canada, where you have, little old ladies going to the grocery store and choosing to buy Canadian products over American products, because quite frankly, we just don't understand why we're being attacked like this when we have only ever been a good friend, ally, partner, and neighbor to the United States.
Could you imagine removing any of the tariffs that you have on things like peanut butter and wine and beer and coffee and apparel? I mean, there is a list of things that Canada does have their own tariffs on.
Well, look, we negotiated an agreement with the United States. We negotiated NAFTA. We recently negotiated CUSMA. And so that's the agreement that we have put in place. And I have to say that as Canadians, we feel that the relationship with the United States, the trust has been broken, because when we sign an agreement, we mean it and we live up to those standards. And what we're seeing from the president right now is that, his signature on that agreement isn't worth it. And so as Canadians, we're saying, hey, we came to an agreement. We negotiated these things already. And instead of you guys abiding by your end of the deal, you're now attacking us. So if you want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. But this aggressive economic action is not the way to do it. Canadians are known for apologizing, but we're not going to back down right now, and we're not going to apologize for defending our economy, our jobs, and our way of life. But what we do want to do is continue to have a strong relationship with the United States. We've always, liked being your neighbor. We've always, wanted to come visit the US, but now what we're seeing is Canadians canceling their American vacations because they're so offended and aggrieved by this action that we would rather settle things at the conversation table as opposed to with how this aggressive action is going. And we will have to retaliate because, unfortunately, we've been forced to.
Karina, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. Hope we get an opportunity to talk to you again.
I don't know.
As this all plays out.
I don't know, Karina. Vacationing in the middle of January in Nova Scotia, I don't know, or out in one of the Western territories. We'll see. We'll see. No tickets for you to Florida. You're headed over. You get your skis.
They would like to go to Florida, but they feel right now.
All right, we'll see. We'll see how long you stick with this. We'll see. Thank you.
Thanks for
See you
having
later.
me.
Wow, Joe came in with the. Oh wait, hold on.
Saying lending remains subdued and the disinflation process is well on track. Still to come, initial jobless claims. We're going to bring you the numbers in the market reaction. Squawk Box will be right back.
Oh wow, Joe hit him with the uppercut right there at the end. Oh wow, we'll see how long this lasts. That was tough right there, man. I don't know how you get away with that. All right, we got jobless claims coming up. We'll stick to this for a minute. I don't see too much going on X anyway. Wow, that was pretty funny. Yeah, no, that was interesting. Yeah, we'll see how long it goes on. I mean, it's all a negotiating thing at the end of the day. Trump wants something. Canada will probably give in at some point, meet in the middle on something, and then we'll move past this. I think a lot of people are really looking at this like, oh, this is a long-term trade war. I don't think so. To me, this just seems like the way Trump negotiates. Wants to get in a position of power. I think he also wants to force Trudeau out. So I think this is more of just a short-term move to put some pressure on Canada and try to get for Trump to try to get what he wants here. That was a funny little thing right there at the end. I think Joe kind of said the quiet part out loud. I mean, at the end of the day, Canada's the person who, like, I don't think there's any way that the United States is just set on just putting tariffs on Canada and having no way for Canada to get out of it. They want Canada to get out of it. They just want them to do stuff. So we'll see exactly what they want to do. Not much of a factor for me. I did see that the ECB cut rates, which was interesting. Probably goes to show the Federal Reserve will probably be cutting rates soon. talking about inflation the other day. It looks like the inflation numbers are coming down dramatically here. It's going to make it even easier for the United States to move forward and cut rates as well. So inflation's coming down. We just saw the ECB do a cut. Good news there. The United States will probably follow. Taylor, good to see you. Tracy, Rocky Mountain Jack, Halls Balls. Zay Crypto. Yo, Mickle, you care if I use your YouTube video on my site? It's a virtual Oh, Zay, anytime, man. Take whatever videos you want. Throw them on your site. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate you asking. The one thing I'll say is if you don't mind, just link up my YouTube video. So if anyone wants to go see more of my videos, they can click right in and go to my channel. But yeah, no, you're more than free to use those YouTube videos. And if anyone ever finds anything interesting from any of my videos and you want to go post it on social media, cut it up, totally fine with that. I actually appreciate it. It just gets me in front of more people. All I ask is if you could just give a tag, just drop my name there. So if people like the content, they can come back and watch more. That's pretty much all I ask for. So really appreciate you asking. Very, very professional. And yeah, no, more than happy to allow you to use those. Wow, the comments are ripping right now. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Just backtracking a little bit. RPM, Roger, good to see you. Frankie Crypto, Dave Nelson, Halls Balls. I think we said that one a couple times. Silver Eagle, Scotty, good to see you, man. Good morning. Good morning. Crypto Clay. Excited to talk with you later, Crypto Clay. Brian, good to see you, man. All right, I think we got through most of those members in the chat. All right, we're back on track. Govs Tractors in the house. What up, man? Good to see you. Awesome. Thank you, Zay Crypto. Yeah, no. Appreciate you asking. And no, look, man. One of the things, a lot of people get really like emotional about their content being used. Not me. I love when people use my content because it's just more people who see me ultimately want to learn more about kind of the things I'm saying. So I definitely I encourage people to use my content. I think it's great. I don't like when people like there's this one person for a while who was just downloading the transcripts from my videos, rebranding it into AI and posting it. Like that's not cool. But like just using my content, using my videos, throwing me some attention, like that's great. Oh, there we go. Someone just said the next stick is going to be a pretty big green one. I think that was Scotty. There you go, Scotty. There's that green stick coming up. 61 cents. A little 2 to 3 cent jump just like that. Whoever called that in the Discord you were in nailed that one. That was a nice little pop-up right there. We're about to get the job numbers too, so I'm guessing that's what the market's reacting to right now. I'm guessing the market's reacting to these job numbers we're about to get. I think the CNBC live streams normally lag a little bit. Yeah, the job numbers are probably already out, so we'll flip over to that in about 2 seconds as soon as they get released. It looks like whatever those job numbers are, the market's liking them. It's really important to realize that the job numbers are probably going to be bad, and the market likes the bad job numbers. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense in my opinion. Oh, Crypto Clay says Mickle is the head professor at YouTube University. Yeah, appreciate that. I don't know how it ended up that way, but at the end of the consolidation range, yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. This is a weird chart formation. It's not something that's normally typical for XRP, so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Definitely not something I've been. Oh, here we go.
Welcome back to Squawk on the Street. Squawk Box. Rick Santelli here live at CME HQ with some very important breaking news.
I love this
Let's
guy.
start out with the trade balance, which we know is a deficit. This is the January number, a new record. We've never had a trade deficit as big as today's, minus 131.5 $134 billion, $134.4 billion. And keep this in mind, pre-COVID, you know what the biggest trade deficit we had was? It was $68.3 billion. So, hey, how about pretty much doubling that number? Now, let's get to productivity, shall we? If we look at non-farm productivity, by the way, you know why they call it non-farm productivity? Because if you used agricultural data in this, it would swamp because it's been so productive. 1.5% is productivity. That would be the best since the third quarter of 24 when it was a little bit over 2%. Unit labor costs, 2.2. That's definitely better than we were expecting, meaning lower, where productivity was higher. Unit labor costs come in at 2.2%. That follows 3%. 2.2%, well, it would be the smallest also since the third quarter when it was half of 1%. Now let's go to initial and continuing claims. 221,000 on still an unrevised 242,000. So we're down 21,000, and it really does show you that there might have been some seasonalities that popped up that last week. 221,000, well, we had 220,000 on the second week of February, just to kind of put a face on it. We're kind of right in the middle there. And continuing claims, a different story. They moved up very close to 1.9 million, 1,897,000. Remember, the last time we had a read at 1.9 million, it was literally exactly at 1.9 million. That was second week in January of this year, and that harkened back to, well, November of 2021. Very quickly, I want to highlight some things. I was shocked this morning. I know many wanted and looked towards the ECB to lower rates 25 basis points, but I thought after yesterday's historic rise in yields, maybe they would stay pat. They didn't. They did lower. And another issue, we were all talking yesterday about how the jump in yields, 30 basis points in a boon, was the biggest jump in yield since 1990's reunification. However, if you're a real bond guy, the VAR, or the value at risk, basis points were more valuable in 1990. Therefore, what we see, they are, yesterday's loss based on value was the biggest in history, because the value of basis point in 1990 is different than the value of a basis point today. When it was at 9%, it was less. We don't want to get lost in the weeds there. Another thing, let's show a chart. If you look at our yields, Joe, minus yields in Europe on the 10-year boon, that difference now is the closest they've been in 20 months, going back to July of 23. We really want to pay attention to that. Capital flows, many, and the interest rate differentials, pricing currencies, all are going to pay attention to that. And we continue to see the world's yields really did follow yesterday's pop in the German yield curve. Back to you.
All right, Rick, I was going to ask you about, and Steve.
All right, a couple interesting things there. Honestly, the most interesting thing for me is, and that's probably the end of needing to watch CNBC this morning. The most interesting thing for me is just the market reacting good to bad jobs data. I mean, it seems like the market's just wanting rate cuts, and that seems to be the biggest thing. I mean, inflation's tanking. Inflation is absolutely tanking. This is going to be a problem pretty soon. I'm telling you guys, the next thing you're going to start hearing people talk about how we're in deflation and it's bad. Like, I guarantee you, pretty soon, all the media talking heads are going to be talking about deflation. Take a look at this. Right now, we're inflation of 1.3%. This is getting well below the Fed's target. I mean, this is problematic. This is massively problematic. The idea that tariffs could lead to inflation isn't even a problem. We almost need more inflation now, because the market is really just, I mean, the inflation's just falling off a cliff. Fascinating stuff here. I mean, we're going to be at, if we keep this trajectory, we're going to be in a deflationary environment, which sounds great, but it no bueno. The deflationary environments are typically not good. Typically not good to see deflation, but as you can see, that's coming down very quickly. I'd imagine the dollar's getting whacked too. Let's see what the dollar's doing. Dollar's actually on a bit of a recovery, but it was off like a big spike downward. Sorry, I'm on a 5-minute chart for the dollar. I got to zoom out to like the daily. Yeah, the dollar's getting nuked right now. Wow. Take a look at this. Yeah, here's the dollar. Just falling off a cliff. Down 5% over the past week. So the dollar's getting whacked. And if we're to zoom out a little bit, we can see that we're just putting in a huge red candle here. Typically when the dollar makes moves like this, it's typically a sign of a much larger sell-off to come. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something a bit like this. It's just cascading effect where the dollar really came down significantly. It's been a while. We were really in a holding pattern for the in the dollar for a bit. Didn't really make many moves one way or the other, but now what we see is the dollar's really taking a shot here. Whoops. Probably going to continue to see this movement. And as you can see, here's another one right here. One of those big dollar sell-offs. So pretty much to be expected. I think we were all expecting the dollar to move this way at some point. Maybe I expected it to happen even a little sooner than what we're seeing now. But as you can see, we kind of have this bottom zone down here, this top zone up here. And we'll just see if the dollar continues to trade between these zones. Obviously, we're at the high part of the zone right now. What you would kind of expect is the dollar to move to the lower part of the zone. Ultimately bullish. Typically, when you do see the dollar weakening, that's good for cryptocurrencies. Typically, when you see inflation coming down, that means rate cuts are coming, which is also very good for cryptocurrencies. Both of those things in combination are going to be a pretty powerful combination, on top of the fact that we have all these big policy things happening for the crypto market as well. It's really hard for me to see the bearish take. I think the most bearish thing we would have to be worried about right now would be the possibility of going into a short-term recession because inflation gets so bad. It goes deflationary, and we're actually in a deflationary, recessionary environment. I think that's probably the biggest risk right now. But that's the breakdown of some of the numbers we saw overall. It's nothing that I'm overly worried about. To me, it seems like this is just going to push the Fed to cut rates. As soon as we cut rates, we'll likely have a pretty big economic boom. Or not economic boom, but a pretty big market boom, because rates have really been holding back the economy for a bit. Ueda interview? Mark Ueda had an interview. Was it good? I haven't checked that out. Wall Street loves a weak dollar. Yeah, they do. And I think we're heading towards a weak dollar. I think Trump wants a weak dollar. Seems like policies are pushing us towards a weak dollar. So let's see what else we got. What other comments? 0% capital gains taxes on XRP. I certainly hope so. That would be the ultimate bullish scenario. That would look really, really good. I only listen to Kramer and do the opposite of what he says. Yeah, I mean, I generally don't have, like, I think Kramer gets a lot of stuff wrong, but I also do think he gets more right than he's given credit for. It's important to realize, like, Jim Cramer was long on Nvidia since like $2. Cramer was pretty early into Tesla. Cramer was pretty early into Bitcoin as well. I mean, he gives his takes on short-term direction, and I think people think if Kramer thinks is negative on Bitcoin, that means he's capitulating on all his Bitcoin. Nah, he's just a news guy, right? Like he just goes up there and says the news. So I totally get like the Kramer hate. I think it's funny. I think he kind of plays into it perfectly just because of his kind of chaotic nature. But if you actually pay attention to it, if you actually pay attention to Kramer and kind of his history, he's made some great calls. He's made some great calls. Very professional acting from very professional, asking for permission for Mickle's content, class acts. That's why the Mickle Mafia is heading to fourth growing podcast. Well done. Rocky Mountain Jack, thank you so much. And yeah, shocking. Couldn't believe we were the fourth fastest growing podcast in the world. Ed, good to see you, man. And guys, make sure to smash that like button. We want more and more people jumping onto these live streams, teaching them about XRP, getting them involved in this ecosystem. And the only way we can do that is if we get more people watching the live streams, right? Every single day, if we can get 5 to 10 new people watching the live streams, it's going to be 5 to 10 more people who ultimately need to learn more about XRP. You wait an interview from this morning. I haven't seen that come across my screen yet. I mean, was it interesting? Was it not interesting? That's what I'm kind of curious about. Looks like the Japanese yen carry trade is really starting to unwind as well. Japanese climbs to the strongest levels against the dollar since early October. It looks like that carry trade is unwinding a bit here. This is kind of a hidden little catalyst going on behind the scenes. I don't know how much it's going to really impact things, but there's a lot of people who have been taking advantage of a weak yen, and that could unwind pretty quickly. So something to watch. I'll see if I can get this on the I'll try to get this on the big chart so we can do a little bit of analysis ourselves. Looks like I have to go longer than I'll go to a month. Yeah, here's the old time chart I have right here for the Japanese yen, US dollar. As you can see, we're kind of had this rounded bottom, and now we're seeing some significant strengthening. So we'll see if we continue to strengthen here. If we continue to strengthen, it's going to be tough for a lot of people who are taking advantage of the carry trade. A lot of things will probably have to be unwound. We'll see how all that plays out, but we're really starting to see a pretty significant turnaround here. Let's see if I can get a better chart here. Yeah, so this is the inverse chart, JPY USD before we were looking at USD JPY. And here you can see really that pump that's starting to go on here. We'll see how that continues to strengthen, but definitely something to watch in the background. I don't have a great view of how all that plays into stuff, to be honest with you guys. Still need to kind of sharpen my own thesis around that. Seems like we're finally getting some momentum on that trade, so I'm gonna have to go to the drawing board and figure out what my overall thoughts on it are. Looks like XRP is kind of forming some level of a consolidation pattern here. We'll watch that. Devin Dennis says, yes, Jake said XRP climbs as JPY carry trade unwinds. Yeah, no, I definitely see that. I just don't know enough about it to really explain it and throw my thesis out there. I've got to do some research on it. Don't sell your H bar. Someone talk about selling H bar. Let's just checking out the news real quick, making sure we're not missing out on anything. I can jump back to CNBC real quick and see if they're talking about anything interesting. Just commercials. Whole bunch of nonsense. I was hoping they'd be talking a lot about cryptocurrency stuff today with that hearing going on tomorrow. But doesn't look like there's anything that interesting going on there yet. David Sachs with a great post right here. He says, over the past decade, federal government sold approximately 195,000 Bitcoin for proceeds of 366 million. If the government had held that Bitcoin, it'd be worth over 17 billion today. That's how much it has cost taxpayers not having a long-term strategy. Great post here by David Sachs. I know a lot of people here in the community look at this as a XRP against Bitcoin thing, but it's really a cryptocurrency against fiat thing. And it's great, and it's just great to see leaders. It's just great to see leaders talking that way. Oh, yeah, I missed your super chat. Let me jump up and let me see if I can find it. Sorry about that. There's always a lot going on. Hey, Mickle, what do you think about HBAR? Would say, as an example, swapping 10K XRP for 900. Would swapping 10K HBAR for 900 XRP be worth it, hypothetically? You know, man, like, well, thank you so much. I appreciate the donation. But, like, it's just like, that's one of those questions, like, unfortunately, I just can't answer on a live stream, you know? Like, you're asking about your specific situation. I really don't know your situation. I mean, if you want HBAR and you want to sacrifice XRP for it, like, you should swap it. If you don't want to sacrifice XRP for your HBAR, then you shouldn't. I can't really give any more insight than that, unfortunately. To me, it's just one of those things where you kind of gotta figure it out on your own. I don't know. I'm not as bullish on HBAR as I am XRP, but I'm still very bullish on HBAR, right? I mean, obviously I run an XRP channel. You see XRP Mickle written across the screen. It's not HBAR Mickle. Like, XRP is my favorite. Now, so if you ask me, like, would I be swapping XRP for HBAR? Like, for my specific situation, like, I probably wouldn't do that. If you have a different viewpoint, that you might have a different viewpoint. So unfortunately, I can't really provide you much more than that, right? Like, if you're asking which one's going to pump and then if you should move one into the other, that's a whole different story. But, you know, the thing about the cryptocurrency market is, like, these things are very unpredictable. I know so many people who their strategy was like, oh, I'll just go into all these altcoins and then they'll pump before XRP, and then I'll move all the profits from my altcoins into XRP. Great strategy, right? Like, why would you not do that? Why would you even buy XRP if you can just buy these altcoins and they'll pump harder and then move the altcoins into XRP? It's the perfect strategy. Except then XRP pumped before the altcoins, and now these people were holding a bunch of altcoins and couldn't get more XRP. So, like, it's just important to realize, like, just because you want the market to do something in a certain way doesn't mean it will. So the easiest thing to do is just hold assets you're confident in and sit back and relax, right? It doesn't always have to be some complicated strategy. I believe the best strategy you can possibly do is just work harder and accumulate more fiat, right? Like, if there's a way you can get a side gig going, do some overtime, get a couple extra hours going, like the best thing to do is to be able to, you know, make a little extra cash, throw that into more assets rather than swapping these assets around and constantly worried about how you're positioned. Like, just go figure out a way to get a little extra income coming in. And I know that's easier said than done, right? Way easier said than done. But if you focused all your time on trying to find some extra income versus trying to figure out which asset to swap to what, you'd just be in a position where it's like, all right, I'm gonna funnel a lot more cash into this ecosystem, and I find that's the easiest no-brainer way to do it. Firedog, good to see you. Firedog says woke up to a little power hour for XRP. Yeah, now things look pretty good. Firedog says nailed that one, Mickle. That's the real way to do it. Yeah, no, it really is. You know, it's important to realize like some people like to position themselves as traders. Totally fine, right? Like if you're a great trader, you're a great trader. But if you're not a great trader and you don't want to dedicate your life to trading, dedicate your life to something that you're good at, right? Dedicate your life to making more money, like something that makes money. And then take that money and use that and put it in assets that appreciate. I find that XRP is one of the lowest risk cryptocurrencies in my opinion. I don't, it's hard for me to see much that's really lower risk. Oh, wow. I had no idea this was happening. Wow, I totally slept on this. Take a look at this. I didn't even know this was taking place. Take a look at the VIX. I had no idea the VIX had jumped up so high. This is crazy. Let me pull this up right now. I had no idea the VIX made this move. Wow. Why am I not seeing this? Is this a fake chart? This is a terrible VIX chart I'm looking at. VIX, CBOE, volatility index. I guess it is a real chart. I don't know why it looks so funky. These trading view VIX charts stink. Oh, I don't know. Economic uncertainty policy for it's so crazy how many people are panicking over these tariffs. I mean, man, I get it that the tariffs are coming, but like, I just don't see why people are so freaked out about them. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's something really obvious here that I'm just like not understanding. But for the life of me, I can't understand why people are so freaked out about tariffs. I really can't. I understand if you're like a Canadian citizen and you're worried, like that's one thing, but the market as a whole, I just don't really get it. Oh, Roger, you're doing yourself dirty, man. Roger acts like he doesn't know anything, but Roger is extremely intelligent. Extremely. Trust me, Roger gets it. Roger acts like he doesn't get some of this stuff, but now, Roger, you are well above the pack, man. You have some great insight. DXY 103. Dow futures down pre-market. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, guys. At this point, like I am so bullish on XRP. Like I actually like am like kind of sitting there, like I kind of hope it like stays down a bit. Like to a certain degree, like I'm just like we're gonna move past the point of this thing. I like it's almost like when XRP is going up, it's almost like, man, it's like it's almost sad in a weird way to see XRP leaving these lower prices. I know I'm probably one of the few people in the world who thinks like that, but I really do. It's like XRP's pumping and I'm almost to a certain point like, oh man, there it goes. I watched the same thing happen with Tesla, right? It was like I was buying so much Tesla and I was trying to get so much money into Tesla and then it just left me, right? And the opportunity was gone. And I was able to build out a big position for Tesla. I kind of promised myself I'd never make that mistake again if I found another thing like Tesla. But like it just kind of leaves you. And like I know at the time, right, we've all been waiting so long for this. And it's like, how could you possibly be saying that? But it's just how I feel. A certain part of me is like, man, that era is over. That era is over. Jasmine is dumping. I don't know, but I don't know really anything about Jasmine. I'm not that bullish on not. Oh, someone asked me if I was an XRP maxi before. No, definitely not. I mean, I probably hold like 8 to 10 different cryptocurrencies. The vast majority of what I hold is XRP. But I don't think I'm an XRP maxi. I just like think XRP is by far the most interesting thing in the cryptocurrency market as of now. That could change. It's just like I tell this story quite a bit, but it's just the truth. Like the reason I got involved in crypto is because I was looking for some kind of fintech financial services investment. And XRP just really fits that role for me. It fits directly into what I think the future world is going to look like. And it fits directly into what I think cryptocurrencies are going to be used for. So for me in particularly, like I don't really see the use case for blockchain technology in a lot of different things that people see the use case for blockchain technology in, like cryptocurrency and AI. Like I don't really get it that much. I mean, cryptocurrency and some of these other things that I've seen, like some of these blockchain gaming things, like I just don't really understand it. I remember in my early days, I was like very interested in all that stuff. I was like, oh, like you can do this with blockchain, you can do this with blockchain. But the more I've learned about the technology, I mean, like I just really don't see a huge use case for a lot of the things people are trying to use blockchain technology for. And maybe I do see a use case, but it's not interesting enough for me to focus my time and attention there. So I think that's kind of the bigger thing. It's like I do see use cases for it, but it's like, okay, like what level are we talking about here? Are we talking more about like a niche product that some people might use, or is it bigger? Good morning, Tony. Good to see you. My wife thinks Crypto Clay has me down some conspiracy rabbit hole with my fake money, gambling our livelihood away. That's so funny, Halls Walls. No, dude, like it's funny. I just like my everyone in my family like just gets it. I don't know if they just like blindly trust me, but like all my family, like it's so funny. I go to like these family events and like my girlfriend holds XRP, her sister holds XRP. My parents hold XRP, my brother holds XRP, my cousins hold XRP, like, and and I'm not the type of guy, as you guys know, like I'm not like the type of guy who really goes and like, hey, like you need to go buy XRP. Like that's the last thing I want to do. Like I don't really want people to be asking me when they get all confused about something. Like go figure it out for yourself is always my motto. Like I'm not here to sell you on XRP. If you want to know about it, I'll talk your ear off about it, but I'm not going to sit here and try to sell you on XRP, right? Like just a waste of my time. But all of those people just kind of came to me and they're like, hey, like I really want to buy some. Can you like help me? And I was like, all right, like, yeah, I can do that. That's fun. But they all own it. It's so funny. Like we go to these family events and everyone's like, oh, like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Like, what do you think about this? So funny. They just all own XRP. My two younger cousins too, like grew up with them my entire life. I gave them a pretty nice Christmas gift of some XRP, and it was so funny. It was like they were like so fascinated by it, like they thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. And I was like, you guys are gonna be too smart. You guys are gonna be two smart girls if you're this fascinated with XRP. They loved it. Now is a good time to buy. That's something you got to figure out for yourself. Everyone wants to know when's a good time to buy. For anyone asking when's a good time to buy, let me just show you when like the majority of people in this group were buying, right? Like where did the majority of people buy in this group? Like it's an interesting question. And I'll just be realistic with you, right? Like the majority of people I know bought XRP somewhere here. Like I don't know how else to explain it to people. Like no one, like everyone has bad XRP buys at highs, perfect XRP buys at lows, XRP buys where it was trading sideways forever and not doing anything, XRP buys when it was crashing. Like people just, like, a lot of people just never overthought it. They're just like, when I get money coming in, I'll buy some more XRP. So like, people always ask me, like, is this a good price to buy XRP? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know if it was a good time to buy here. I didn't know if it was a good time to buy here. I didn't know if it was a good time to buy here. Like, most of the people just bought. Like, they just bought XRP and said, I don't really care about the US dollar right now. Like, my goal is to get more XRP. And like, it's just a different way of thinking. Like, if you're overly worried about like the exact price you're going to get it at. Oh, I missed another super chat. Thank you, Roger. Thank you guys for keeping me honest. I'm all over the place today. Thank you for your honest opinion, Mickle. What do you think about XDC? I'm a fan of XDC. I think it's interesting. To be honest, like, it's like XDC is one of those things where it seems like there's a pretty good community. Seems like there's some decent level of attraction, but I don't see XDC in the strategic reserve. I don't see any XDC ETFs coming out. So not to say I dislike XDC. It's just like one of those things. It's like, all right, well, maybe it's just a little farther behind XRP in the adoption scale, which that's not a bad thing either. Maybe you can make the argument that means there's more room to the upside. I don't know. A lot of these technologies do very similar things with like different intricacies on how they function. It's hard for me to really envision what could be built that differently on something like XDC than XRP. Now, people will still build completely different things on XDC than XRP. It's just hard for me to really wrap my head around exactly like how each one of these things fits into the bigger equation. But like I said, guys, like there's no like I think personally my XR. Whoa, what did I do? Probably clicked on an ad. Yeah. I think my personal best XRP buy was right in this zone right here. This is where I first started getting into XRP, and then when that Ripple SEC case dropped. Those were the two best times. I actually remember both of these very vividly. It was pretty funny. Actually, when the Ripple SEC case dropped, I was actually at my girlfriend's house right about here. And we were like just hanging out watching a movie. And I remember seeing XRP go down to 17 cents. And I remember just instantly, I was like, I didn't really have a lot of money at the time either. I was just like looking at my bank account. I saw there's like 7K in there. And I was like, full port 5K to uphold, instant buy. I was like, all right, let's see how this works out. This is crazy. But yeah, man, like you never really know. And I remember at the time back here, let me show some of the new people, kind of what we were dealing with. When the price chart looked like this, there was a big worry that XRP was going to do something like this, right? That this was the next move and we could come down all the way back to these lower levels. I remember that was a huge fear. So it's always super tough to tell what's a good price, especially at the current moment. It's an easy thing to look back on and say, oh, this was a good price. This was a good price. But that's just not how markets work. And the more time you spend consuming yourself on that kind of stuff, the more you're just going to wash yourself out. Like it's a fool's errand to try to predict that. Silver Days, thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate you, Silver Days. You do so much here. Totally just pro bono. Just be a great community member. And Silver Days, everyone notices it. I get comments all the time how thankful people are for you just being in here. Driving the community, just doing whatever you can to help out. So thank you so much, Silver Days. You're an OG here, and we appreciate you a lot. Firedog says DCA is the best way to do it. My first purchases were 60 to 70 cents, had to average down to 52 cents. And that's really hard when the lowest I could get XRP at was 43 cents. No, it's a great point. Like, and look, like when Firedog was buying a 40-cent XRP, right? It probably seemed like a pretty high-priced XRP because at that time it was cheaper before, right? So you're always going to have this situation of it was cheaper before. It always is. I remember too, like Me personally, I remember when I was getting into Tesla, and I just think it's a great example here. Oh, it looks like Tesla's getting nuked on the open. That's great. That'll be fun. I remember when I was first getting into Tesla. Let me zoom in and go all the way back down here. Oh, God, I need to stop clicking on I need to just buy TradingView. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just too has nothing to do with me buying TradingView. I'm just too lazy to go do the checkout. I remember when Tesla was back here, right? I was buying Tesla all within these prices here, like all within these $10 to $11 to $15 range. And then Tesla went on this massive rip, and I was like having such a hard time fathoming buying Tesla for $50. Like, I was just like, I don't want to spend $50. I was just spending $5 to $10 on this stock. And then what happened? It was like, oh, it doesn't even matter. There it is at 279. So, it's just always important to put that kind of stuff into context, right? You over worry about some of this stuff. You end up just playing mental games with yourself. Trump to sign executive orders at 2 p.m. Eastern. I wonder if one of those will be that cryptocurrency strategic reserve. All right, guys, with that said, I'm going to jump. Guys, thank you so much for coming. You guys are all incredible. I say this all the time, but these live streams are really only so special because you guys choose to be here. You guys make these things so much fun. The community is excellent. Yeah, thank you guys so much. It's always a blast to jump on it here in the mornings. You guys make this so much more fun. You teach me things each and every day. And guys, I'll talk